把酒问青天，不知天上宫阙，今夕是何年？我欲乘风归去，又恐琼楼玉宇。高处不胜寒，起舞弄清影，何似在人间？转朱阁，低绮户，照无眠。不应有恨，何时长向别时圆？人有悲欢离合，月有阴晴圆缺，此事古难全。但愿人长久，千里共婵娟。
My dad had this theory that when we die, we become stars. When I was younger, I believed him. It was a simple answer that both of us could accept. Now that I'm older, I've learned that I'm very much the kind of person who likes to have an explanation on things, and death does not have an explanation. What am I supposed to feel? What am I supposed to experience? I like to consult people, and I can't do that with death. So, I'll go to the next best thing. Science. This is Paul Sutter. Paul is an astrophysicist. Paul has a PhD in physics from the University of Illinois and a podcast. Paul is incredibly intelligent. He writes about stars, how they live and how they die. Paul is great because he's also a poet. Not professionally, not really, but when he writes with this confidence that the universe is one massive poem. I'm not an astrophysicist or a poet, but I am curious.
Small stars live an incredibly long time. As they age, they steadily become brighter until they just sort of vaguely sputter out, becoming an inert, boring lump of helium and hydrogen just hanging around the universe, minding nobody's business but their own. It's a sorrowful fate, but at least it's a quiet one.
Just to be clear, a small star has a diameter of no less than 75,000 miles. So that small star is actually massive, and its depth is just a sputter. My diameter is 18 inches. My dad's was 22. It's a sorrowful fate, but at least it's a quiet one. But what if I don't want to go out quietly? What if I want the universe to feel my absence? My dad was no small star, and neither am I. So, how about a bigger category? Let's see what Paul has to say.
When the massive stars in our universe die, it's much more violent. They go out in all their glory. Big stars are able to, temporarily at least, resist the crushing collapse, triggering a supernova blast. The shockwave and material ejected during the explosion carves into the interstellar medium and disrupts nebula and even sends material spewing out of galaxies themselves. It is one of the most spectacular sights in the entire universe. Pretty intense, and what a way to go.
There's something poetic, or maybe something human, about the outside pressing in on you to the point of collapse. Pretty intense, and what a way to go. There's something to be said about being average, my dad once said. Not too big, not too small. Our sun is an average, medium-sized star. You'd think then that it would have an average, medium-sized death. How wrong you'd be.
It's the medium-sized stars that suffer the worst fate. Too big to go off quietly into the night, and too small to trigger a supernova blast. they instead turn into gruesome monsters before finally turning themselves inside out. While beautiful and bewildering to behold, it is still a violent, tortured death of star.
Imagine living a life in the middle, just trying to remain unseen, and then at the end of it all, finding out that you were still too much of one thing and not enough of the other. My dad fought until the very end. He had the best doctors, the latest research. We thought he was surviving, maybe even getting better, but really his insides were turning themselves out. He wasn't an expert. He wasn't a scientist or a poet, but he was my dad. And he was right. A violent, tortured death of a star.